In April of 1943, a corpse washed up on a beach in Spain. He was wearing a British military uniform, carrying a locked briefcase chained to his wrist. Inside were secret documents, outlining the Allies' next invasion. There was just one problem. The man in the uniform had never served a single day in the military, and the Nazis were about to make the biggest strategic blunder of World War II because of him. By early 1943, the Allies had a Sicily-shaped problem. Everyone, including Hitler, knew that after North Africa, Sicily was the obvious next target. It sat right in the middle of the Mediterranean, a stepping stone toward Italy itself. Winston Churchill reportedly summed it up in one line: "Everyone but a bloody fool would know it's Sicily," which meant, of course, that the Germans would be ready for it. So British intelligence didn't try to hide the invasion. They tried something stranger. They decided to convince Hitler that Sicily was a decoy, and the real targets were Greece and Sardinia. Not with spies, not with radio chatter, but with a dead body and a briefcase full of lies. The plan came from two men in naval intelligence, Ewan Montague and Charles Cholmondeley, working under a division with a name that sounds almost too fitting: the 20 Committee, as in the Roman numeral for 20, XX, double cross, finding Major Martin. Step 1 was the hardest and the darkest. They needed a corpse, one that would pass as a British officer who died at sea, close enough in appearance and time of death to survive a Spanish autopsy. They found him in a London mortuary. His real name was Glyndwr Michael, a homeless Welsh laborer who had died after ingesting rat poison, likely by accident, with no family to claim him. In death, he was given a new identity: Major William Martin of the Royal Marines. But a body alone wouldn't be enough. It needed a whole life behind it. Building a person who never existed. This is where the operation turned almost absurd in its detail. Montague and Cholmondeley built an entire paper trail for a man who didn't exist. Love letters from a fiancée named Pam, an overdraft notice from his bank, a receipt for an engagement ring, theater ticket stubs, a photo of a woman who was actually a clerk working in the office. Every pocket item was chosen to make a Spanish coroner, and eventually German intelligence, believed they were looking at a real, slightly disorganized officer, not a fabricated one. Then came the actual secret. Chained inside the briefcase, forged letters, addressed to real Allied commanders in North Africa, hinting that the coming invasion would strike Greece and Sardinia, with Sicily mentioned only as a minor feint. The drop. On April 30th, 1943, a British submarine, HMS Seraph, surfaced quietly off the coast of Huelva in neutral Spain. The crew released the body into the water, timed carefully to drift toward shore on the current. Spain was neutral, but Huelva was known to have a German intelligence contact, a local agent well connected to the Abwehr. The British were counting on exactly that. They didn't want the body found by someone loyal to the Allies. They wanted it found by someone who would quietly pass the documents to Berlin before returning them, untouched, to the British consulate. It worked almost exactly as planned. The documents were photographed, copied, and sent to German High Command, then resealed and returned as though nothing had happened. Here's the moment the entire operation had been built for. The German High Command received the intelligence and believed it completely. Hitler personally redirected forces based on those documents. Additional troops and armor were moved to Greece. Defenses in Sardinia were reinforced. Sicily, the obvious target, the one Churchill said only a fool would miss, was left comparatively undefended. A dead homeless man, a fictional fiancé, and a chained briefcase had just outmaneuvered the German High Command. On July 9th, 1943, the Allies launched Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily. Resistance was real, but far lighter than it could have been. Some historians estimate the deception saved thousands of Allied lives by drawing critical German forces away at the exact moment they were needed most. The full identity of Major William Martin wasn't confirmed publicly until 1996, decades after the war, when Glinder Michael was finally credited by name. What makes Operation Mincemeat remarkable isn't just that it worked, it's what it reveals about deception itself. The British didn't just fabricate a document, they fabricated a whole believable life, because people and intelligence agencies don't just look for information. They look for a story that fits what they already expect to be true. The Germans expected the Allies to faint before a major invasion. Mincemeat simply gave them the feint they were already looking for. Operation Mincemeat worked, not because it was clever, but because the enemy wanted to believe it. Sometimes the most effective lie isn't the most elaborate one. It's the one that confirms what someone already suspects. If you want more stories like this, one is already waiting for you, right here.